Good evening, good evening, good evening, wherever you are joining us. Hello, my name is Brandy Ray Hicks, and I am a college coach and the executive director of College Clinic. And we help transition students and their families into college and beyond through academic preparedness, financial literacy, and basic life skills. And this evening, I am pleased to host the first of many, many times that we'll be engaging with one another throughout the month and throughout the course of your senior or your junior's high school year. And so welcome to the College Bound Accountability Group video call, and we will be meeting on the third Sundays of the month for about an hour to talk about college-bound topics, to talk about those pressing issues that you may have as a student or as a parent, as a college-bound coach yourself. We welcome everyone to the table because we have a lot to share. This is a transition time that we are dealing with our young people, and we created this accountability group to connect on twice a month of video calls as well as once a month in video calls, so we can go through curriculum, laser focus on questions and concerns that you may have about the college application process. And so want to make sure that everyone is logging into the curriculum. Now, if you are new to College Clinic and what we do here, we have partnered with Microsoft OneNote, which is powered by Microsoft, where it is a free downloadable application that you can get with your Office 365 subscription or from any Google Play Store or iTunes. It's an application that's free download. You don't have to have Microsoft OneNote, but we find that this icon, this compatibility software, is great for different school districts that have Office 365 that they give to their students. And it's a way to put a whole bunch of information into an electronic notebook form. So it's kind of like a 3-ring binder where you have your cover, you have tabs and pages in between, because we sometimes get inundated with so many emails and so many PDFs. We just need one central place to look at the information, and Microsoft OneNote is a great tool to use in the classroom and the community. And so in just a minute, you're going to see a split screen of the Microsoft OneNote. So we're going to create a motivational mindset for our first topic of this transition into college and beyond. And so we created these accountability groups because it's a safe space. It is a safe space for you to ask all of your college-bound questions and to laser focus in on the college coaching process. Now, for students, we're going to set intention for both students and parents that are joining us this evening. Now, for students, let's set the intention. I want you to play full out. I want you to commit to showing up. I want you to commit to the homework, and I want you to commit to the college application process, even when it seems overwhelming, even when it seems confusing, even when you seem like it's at the end of the world, because every goal and exercise is designed specifically for you so it doesn't become overwhelming. So you're charting out and making goals and progresses along the way, as opposed to making it up as you go along. Now, for the parents, the intent that we're going to set together as we're journeying through our video conversations is that I want you as a parent to listen first, because this message is geared to our students. However, I want you to play the back end position of this team that we have forming, which is very important. This is being filmed on a Sunday, so we all know how important football is on a Sunday. But as a parent, your support comes in this process as we're matriculating along, is that you're going to be responsible for looking at your financial situation to see how much you're able to contribute to your students' academic goals, if you're able to contribute at all. And if you're not able to contribute, or if you are able to contribute, but it's not the full amount, then we'll discuss ways of how a parent of how you need to align certain financial documents, set up college tours, and be the biggest cheerleader for your students along the way. Because some of our students that are joining us are first-time college students, first-generation college students, and some are, you may have gone to college many moons ago, but the process has changed. It has simplified, but it has also changed in becoming highly competitive. So parents, I want you to be the most supportive cheerleader in this process. And then collectively, you all are both learning together this college application process. So welcome both students and parents. And so let's dive into our lesson. And so I am going to do a split screen, the power of technology, which I love. But with a split screen, I am going to share my screen. And you're going to see me. I'm going to move to the upper right-hand corner. Hey, this is me over here. I'm in the upper right-hand corner over here. And this is the dashboard. This is what Microsoft OneNote looks like once you gain access into Microsoft OneNote. And so I want you to, in the time between we connect again, is to familiarize yourself of all of the great things that we have as resources to our students. Now, as you can see on the left-hand side, we have lots of nuggets for our students. We have our accountability group, our bi-weekly conference calls, and our monthly webinars. In the 10 Things Workbook tab, you're gonna see a 110-page ebook there that students have received in the community, or you can read it on your own. We have lots of video trainings of self-paced that you can watch on your own. We also have an opportunity for you to submit your common application and your college essay review. Now, how that works is that you will make an appointment when it's time for you to have your common application review or your college essay, which is totally what a lot of people come for our accountability groups, because sometimes our students need a second eye. They need an editor's professional opinion about how to craft and shape their essay. So that comes a part of the package as well. Isn't that cool? And so you'll be able to make an appointment separately for your application as well as your essay. But let's get into the content today. And so our video conference is here today. And each student is going to have some homework to do during the month, but we'll go through that in a minute. But first, let's talk about the college mindset that I really want to talk about with our students and our parents today. Because as we go out into the community with College Clinic and we're teaching young people about the college application process, majority of our students, more than 90% of our students, get the academic part of how they need to keep their grades up, and they may or may not need tutorial support in different subjects or getting prepared for the SAT or the ACT. 100% of the students out of the 10,000 students and counting that we've encountered is dealing with a mental mindset that they have hurdles that they need to get over. Are they good enough for school? What is this plan? How do I manage my coursework as well as applying? And then how do I prioritize my school choices? And so the mindset that we want to set, whether you are new to College Clinic and this is your first time on a video webinar, or if you are a returning student, this exercise never gets old. And so we all want to start on this mental mindset of what is our plan. And so we created a worksheet within a lot of our workshops called Plan A, Plan B, Plan C. Now, how this works is that we want to prepare our students to research all of the opportunities that they have to apply to college. We want to make sure that they list those goals as they are talking about the college application process. Like, what is your goal that you have to go to college? This next thing, the A in a plan, is the action steps. Like, what you say that you're going to go to the University of Cincinnati, where I went to undergrad. That's great. Now, what are the action steps that you need to get to specifically to the University of Cincinnati or wherever your student is going, and then move on those actions. The next thing in the PLAN acronym is next steps. Like, after you've accomplished your steps, what are going to be your next steps? Typically, a plan A, B, and C with students is their first pick, their second pick, and their third pick college. No matter if they're applying to 3 schools, 6 schools, 10 schools, 15 schools, 100 different schools, that there are always a student's top 3 choices. So we want to really start with the mind frame of, yes, you've made the decision to go to college or the military or start your career, whatever those plans are. Let's put them in an action plan. So a part of your accountability homework, which is self-work, is that you really need to start thinking of a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. And so these documents in Microsoft OneNote are in a PDF that you're looking at, as well as a Word document. So if you were to click on this Word document, those of you all that are in the Zoom class, that you can see that it pops up as a Word document, and then you can type in the document. But we'll go through an exercise here so you can kind of get the idea. So let's just say I'll use my own plan A, plan B, plan C as an example. So my plan A was to go to Clark Atlanta University back when, in prehistoric days, when I was, not too long ago, when I was going to college. So my plan A was to go to Clark Atlanta University. But because I had a GPA that wasn't that great and my test scores were not that high, I knew that I needed to make sure that I took a particular attention about a couple of things. What was the in-state tuition? Because I lived in Ohio and I needed to know what the tuition was going to cost for my family, because I have a younger sibling. The next thing that I needed to make sure as a student is that, what is the cost to commute? Because college tours are one thing, but commuting your student back and forth during holidays and breaks, what would that cost be to an out-of-state student? The next thing that I needed to consider as a student that was important to me was, what was my major? At that particular time, I wanted to be a full-time teacher. I am not a full-time teacher. However, I teach full-time. There's a difference. So I was looking at majors of my interest. And so as students are creating their plan A, B, and C, this gives them a hit list. I work off lists. A lot of our students work off of lists. So creating a list where you can successfully check it off is celebrating the many wins for a student, because we've got to get around the mindset for high school students is that we need to plan our future. We have to plan our success. And so a lot of times for high school students, what has happened is that people have been telling them what to do. Counselors have been telling them what classes to take, or if you're interested in XYZ, then you need to do this. Parents may have a vision for our students, but this is the time where students get an opportunity to really think out their plan. What comes after A, what comes after B, what comes after C, how to put one foot in front of the other, basic life skills. So as your homework in the accountability group, if you have or have not, if you've done it already, do it again. But if you have not done it, really spend the time that it takes, maybe about 15, 20 minutes, to really dig deep into what is your plan A, plan B, plan C. Make sure that if you are going through these different plans, that your action steps are not the same. Your action steps have to be different from the plan A, the plan B, the plan C. My plan C was the University of Cincinnati. Go figure. My plan C was my best plan that ever happened within my life. But I knew within the University of Cincinnati, what I needed to find out is that, did they have summer school classes that I could stay in the dorms? I also wanted to know, could my roommate be, could I choose my roommate? And I knew that I needed to connect, I spelled roommate wrong, sorry. I knew that I needed to connect with a college representative and ask my parents to take me on a college tour. So I knew that because this was in-state, University of Cincinnati is in Ohio, I'm from Ohio, that I knew that, okay, with me living in-state, that it was within driving distance that my parents could schedule a weekend to take me there. Now, you want to make sure that as you're planning this, that you're able to follow through with the action steps. So if I knew that I needed to connect with a college representative, I knew that I needed to talk to my counselor to see if the University of Cincinnati was visiting my school. And if it wasn't, then I went on the website and looked at the admissions requirements, and I scheduled our own college tour for my dad because they have parent weekend. Some colleges are moving now to preview weekends where you can go as a family and check out everything, talk to students, tour the campus, talk to professors. So plan A, plan B, plan C is a homework in our accountability group. And it's self-paced, should take you about 15, 20 minutes. And so the reason why we're doing this is that our accountability group, the reason why we created this is that people need to feel like they're a part of a community. We created this accountability group, even though we're not checking your homework, that we know that we need a community that's headed towards the right direction, where like-minded people are gathered, whether they're parents that are trying to figure out this college process out or want to connect with other parents and just share either best practices or worst experiences. We're making sure that we're having students connect with other students in the accountability group where you'll see them online. We'll have a point in time where students are connecting with one another. So you know that you're not alone in this process of the journey. And for students, I want you to get in the habit of setting your own goals, because parents and teachers have their goals for you. But now that, as the government has stated, now that you're 18, 17, 18 years old, now is the time that you're an adult now. So now is the time to really start planning out your future. And it starts in your senior year to at least get an idea of what you want to design your college experience to be. And so if you are a parent, you are here to empower your students to open their wings and spread the wings that you've given them. This is your time to trust your student that everything that you've taught them over the last 18 years actually sticks and works. And for students, you are in a season and time where you are able to trust yourself. You know that you've heard all the lectures and all the seminars from all of the people that care about you in your household and in your community. And now it's time to trust your best choices that you'll make about for your future. And so when we're talking about trust and mindset, we have an exercise here that I really like to connect with, to let the parents hear, but also let the students to really share what they're thinking about college. Because like I started tonight's webinar, 99.9% of the students are not at a place where they just can't get to college. I typically don't get the 1.0 student that has no desire of college, that is just not thinking about college. The community that you're in are people that think about college. However, what I do know about 99.9% of all of the students that come to College Clinic programs is that they have some self-doubt about college. From the 4.5 student that I have that I'm working with, all the way to I was a 1.999 student in high school, all the way to that student that is right there at the 2.0 mark of their GPA. But there's some limiting self-doubts that I hear from students. And so the mindset that we're trying to create or trying to understand is some students have this negative conversation about why they don't think college is for them. And so some of the things that students are telling themselves or that they hear is that they won't be able to make new friends, or they'll get homesick, or their grades are not good enough, or maybe their family does not have a lot of money. That is one of the loudest sounds that I've heard within the schools and the communities that I go to, is that they know that their family doesn't have a spare $50,000 annually to pay for their education. So how are they going to be able to afford this bill? And they hear horror stories about FAFSA. Some of the, or federal financial aid. Some of the other self-doubting stories that we hear students saying is that, or that we hear students saying about their community, is that they have friends that tell them that none of us went to college, so why should you? Or you may think that you're better than me because you went to college, and who do you think that you are? Or I made it without a degree and I'm successful, so you don't even need that degree. And so the reason why we ask students in this accountability group on the first day is to start dumping your self-doubts. So in this worksheet that we have for our students is that we want students to dump everything that's negative that they think about college, everything. And so you'll take a moment in this worksheet just to really dump all of your negative self-doubt. I was visiting a school a couple of weeks ago, and when I do this in a large assembly with, I had over 100 students in this assembly, and I gave them Post-it notes where they did not have to write their name. This is why this is self-work and it's not shared amongst peers, because these are personal thoughts. And so a lot of our students were thinking, and these are smart students, that I don't have the grades, that I'll be homesick, I'll get there and I won't like it, or it's gonna cost too much. I may be able to pay for the second year, but how am I gonna come back and pay for year 2, 3, and 4? And if I wanna get an extended degree, a master's or a doctorate, phew, it's overwhelming to students. And a lot of our students suppress this. And so now's the time for students, for you to dump all of this negative self-doubt on the paper. Now, parents, there's a lesson behind this, so hold tight. Now, the second page of this worksheet, what I want you to focus on are words of affirmation. Because what I do know is that you can write and create a new conversation in your head, a new story that has a better outcome than some of the stuff that you have been telling yourself. Some of those words of affirmation to continue to tell yourself along the college application process is that, you know what, I'll make new friends and find activities on college. Or you know what, I'll schedule time to go back to see my family. 90 days isn't really a long time, so I'll make time to see them on the holidays and in the summertime. Or financially, that they could apply for financial aid or get work study or work a part-time job where they can help defer the cost or look for scholarships, whatever they need to do to pitch in financially that is encouraging, that they know that they can help contribute to. Or within their community. Some of our students have younger siblings and they want to be an example to their younger siblings. So being an example, or their first generation of going or finishing college, or possibly being an example in their community where college is a limited option for some. And so I want students to take a moment to do this self-work by yourself. Now, parents, just listen. To do this self-work by yourself. Because the words of affirmation that I want you to write down for your homework, because every college freshman, I don't care if they're my age, first year freshmen, fourth year, senior, getting ready to graduate college. Every college student has this 3 a.m. conversation in their head. Am I going to go to the party and kick it? Because you know what? All of this negative self-doubt conversation starts to pop in. You know what? I wasn't doing well in this class. My grades are good enough, so I'll just fail the class. You know what? I can just go home and this won't even happen again. Or you know what? I don't even know where my money is going to come my next semester, so I just might as well drop out now. I just might as well give up. What am I going to do? Am I going to go to the party? Am I just going to get in the bed, pull the covers over my head and pull the hoodie over our heads and wish this day never happened? Or is a student going to turn back around, sit at their desk, turn on their light, and start speaking words of affirmation to themselves? I know I can do this. I know I can be an example. My little sister is going to look at me crazy if I come home and fail, but I know I need to do it for her. I know that I need to maintain my grades to make sure that I have this scholarship, to be eligible for this scholarship. I really, really enjoy my freedom and my friends on campus. I know if I just get through this paper, I can make it through. These words of affirmation are very, very important for students to do within the first onset of this accountability group, because it sets the mentality. Because as we're going through this college application process, seniors are going to be hit upside the head with a whole lot of deadlines for letter of recommendation, deadlines for the SAT, studying for the ACT, English papers, science papers, college tours, filling out college applications. Is going to get overwhelming before the first day of college. And so when students start to write down their own words of affirmation, of course, mommy and daddy and counselor and teacher think that they're the greatest, that they're going to make it and all that other stuff. But now we are parents. This exercise is designed for these wings to start opening up during this last year of their senior year, so you as a parent can monitor these wings flying this last year that they're under the nest. And so students, what I want you to do is, after you've done this portion of plan A, plan B, plan C, and college is for me, is that I want you to share these results with your parents. I want you to share these fears that you have about college with your parents. And I also want you to share your words of affirmation with your parents, so your parent will know in their heart and their head that you're going to be okay. Because you're going to reach a point in time in your freshman year that you're not going to always call home when things are rough. You're not going to always pick up that phone because mommy and daddy is not in the other room. And parents, this exercise and you hearing and seeing the results is for you to understand that your child is going to be okay at college. Okay? So those are our two essays. Those are two homework assignments that I want you guys to really work on during the time between now and our next webinar. And so what I want you to do is that I want you to take a moment, students, and think about all of the million reasons why you know college is for you. And I also want you to right now is to check your mental mindset. Is your mental mindset full of hope, or is it full of questions about this college application process? Now, we are going to take some questions to make sure that we are addressing some of the questions. So I'm going to jump back into the full screen here to see if we have any questions. So there were some questions that were sent in. So if there's any parents or students on the live stream that has any questions, I want you to put your questions in the chat bar. Some of the questions of people that I see over here, I had some questions that were sent in earlier today as students and parents were getting ready for this webinar this evening. And so one of our students had asked us that, how do you decide a major? Like, how do you decide a major when you're a senior in high school deciding what you're going to do for the rest of your life? Now, this is a twofold answer that I need to tell both students and parents. Is that students, number one, most colleges don't ask you to declare a major until your second or third year. Why? Because your freshman and sophomore year are spent doing your core classes. That's your English, your math, your science, your history, your elective towards your major. For you to get an idea of what you like and don't like, and get kind of the word on the street from other students to see what are the poppin' majors, what are the great professors, what are the interesting subjects. Now, there are certain colleges like Wake Forest that I know for certain that ask students to declare a major on the onset of their freshman year so they can interweave their electives so they'll start early. So this goes for both, whether this is your second, third year deciding your major, or your senior year in high school deciding what your major is your freshman year. Now, what I give students the recommendation is to go towards what you're good and you're great at. What are your hobbies? Now, for me, I majored in history and African American studies my freshman year. Now, why? Because I loved history. I love researching. I love learning about old things that did not change. I was not good at math. I was okay at English, but I was great at speaking and connecting with young people. So I wanted to become a teacher. So I focused all of my attention and my interest into helping others and speaking in front of crowds and things that I was of an interest to. So you want to make sure that as you're deciding a major, if you like to do hair, well, you know, and you want to own a hair salon, well, you know that you're probably pretty good at hair and will go to cosmetology school, but you need the business aspect of that. So you want to focus your direction into business. Young people that want to become entrepreneurs, you need to know business basics. So enrolling into a business program. If you're great with numbers, what if you're great with numbers and you like sports? Well, have you ever considered being a sports statistician that calculates all of the stats for different sports? Do you like science? Well, what particular science? There were a lot of students that were enamored about following the different hurricanes that were happening. And so being a weather analyst, finding out what it takes to be a meteorologist, which is a pretty tough journey. That's not an easy thing to stand in front of a green screen to tell people what the weather is when weather always is changing and needing to know how to decipher it. So there's different ways that you can direct your major as a student. So that was a great question. And so if you're joining us again on the Zoom or the live stream, want to jump in and make sure that you ask your questions, because this is the time, this is your dedicated time on a monthly basis to ask your laser focused questions about the college bound process. And so one of another questions that we've been hearing from our community is, from our parents, is that, how do I prepare my students for college? And these are parents that are either in the 9th grade, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, whatever the spectrum is of parents. But the biggest thing, the number one, of course, general thing is to be your student's cheerleader. Even though you don't know what's going on, they may not tell you all of the college application process, but cheer them on in the process. But beyond cheerleading, your job, like I discussed before, is to play the back end and to allow the student to use their voice. So if there are things going on at the school that they have questions with, ask your student to send the email or make the telephone call. as the parent, if there are doctor's appointments or hair appointments or things that students need to make appointments or college tours, empower your students to do that. You also want to make sure that you're empowering your students to kind of take the lead in things, because in a year's time, mommy and daddy can't call campus. So you want to start empowering your student. Maybe you're playing the background of, coaching them on what are the things that they need to say in order to book their appointment. Because when it's time for them to have conversations with their professor, you don't want your student to be intimidated of talking to an adult about what's going on, especially if it's not going their way, especially in the college level. Parents, you also, a big part of this is setting up the college tour, making yourself available, if possible, to meet with the college representative that comes to the high school, or taking your student on the college tour. You also want to help pull together all of the financial documents. Now, parents and students, this is a very delicate conversation in regards to how the finances are going to help support the student academically. And I've told students before, like, parents are doing the best that they can, putting a roof over your head, putting food on the table, making sure that you have the best of where you're at. And some parents don't have the financial means to contribute anything to the college financial process. And that's okay, students, because they have made it ways that you can pay for college, whether it's student loans, whether it's Pell Grants, whether it's scholarship, whether it's work study, or taking possibly a part-time job or a full-time job and going to school at night. So there's many ways that you can pay for college. But parents, during this process, the financial aid, if your student decides to fill out the FAFSA form, this is a very important process for them, because they're going to need your information. And so we'll have additional conversations in the month of October about the financial aid process. But just to give you a heads up, the FAFSA form, the free application for student federal aid, will become available and taking open applications effective October 1st, 2017. Way back in the day, well, actually 2 years ago, last year was the first year, that financial aid would open in January of the calendar year. So your seniors would be in their January year, their senior year, and then in that fall that they would be going to college. Well, what the government has done now is that they reversed it. So you're getting your financial aid application in October, the beginning of your student senior year. That way you'll know what schools you can apply to based on the aid that you're receiving. So let's talk about, and if there's any more questions on both of the platforms that we're streaming on, make sure that you drop your questions in the chat box. So I want to jump back into our curriculum real quick, because I really want to show students and parents what you will be working on a monthly basis. Now, oops, let me close this window. Now, we have a college clinic monthly planner that gives the dates and the deadlines of all of the things that are coming up for the SAT and ACT. And so you can go on our website in order to get your senior year planning calendar. But this is a worksheet that is in the planning calendar that students that are in the accountability group, I want you to take particular attention to this, because this is going to keep you on track on a month-to-month basis where you don't feel overwhelmed. The number one feedback that we hear from our students, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. I get it. I totally get it. So we've created a monthly college dashboard that puts everything in one spot, or at least gets everything organized for you in order to have your hit list, your checklist for your monthly goals. So the first box is the upward arrow box, or no, we'll start at the box above that, is that on a monthly basis, you need to check your GPA. Now, most schools will give you your GPA when your report cards are out or when you have progress reports. But as a student, you know, based on your homework and your test scores, how you are doing in the class. And if you don't know, then a conversation with your teacher should have your grade point average in that particular class, and then students, you can add it up. On a monthly basis, students are going to need to check in with their counselor in regards to making sure that their transcripts have been sent or uploaded to, the common application, making sure that your letter of recommendations have either met your counselor's office, making sure that if you receive free in or reduced lunch, that you're receiving your waivers for your SAT, ACT, or your college waiver. Like once a month during the senior year, the student needs to check in with the counselor. So you want to write your counselor appointment every month. For students that need to take the SAT or the ACT, then you need to look forward to seeing when those registration dates are, because there's two registration dates. There's the general registration date, and then there's the late registration date. So you want to make sure that you're catching it in enough time, and then what that cost would be if there is a cost. Now, schools only get a limited amount of SAT and ACT waivers, and in some schools, it's on a first come, first served basis. So if you have to pay out of pocket for the test fees, then you want to make sure that you include that in your monthly budget and write it down somewhere where every month you're checking it to make sure, okay, this is the fee that I've got to pay for my test. And making sure that your parents know in enough time, students, and not the night before. The next thing is that we want to make sure that on a monthly basis, we are setting goals towards college. What are your goals towards college? And those goals could be a gamut of goals. Either they can mirror the Plan A, Plan B, Plan C goals, or it can be a family goal for that month. So here's a random thought that I know with my parents is that in the month of September and October, in the sale time of the back to school rush in my senior year, my parents bought a lot of the college tools that I needed. So a bunch of notebooks, pens, papers, I got the bedding, the sheets, a lot of microwaves, things that parents, you got to start now paying attention to the ebb and flow of sales and things that are going on in the stores, in the department stores. So for parents or even for students, that if you want to start thinking about what does my college room want to look like? What are my favorite colors? Then you want to start buying bedding and linen now. And possibly parents, if you want to buy a whole bunch of stuff in the month of September and October and November and gift it to your student for Christmas, perfect idea for Christmas. Microwaves, things of that nature. Goals towards college. You may be saying, hey, in the month of November, I need to make sure that I go on a college visit. So I know in the month of September, I need to start calling the colleges, seeing who's available and how much it would cost to go on that college tour. So what are your 3 goals towards college? The next thing is scholarship searches and college searches. You want to keep a running list, because what happens is that a lot of students get overwhelmed with the scholarship process. Like, oh my gosh, I'm applying to all of these scholarships. I don't know when it's due. I don't know when I'm going to hear back. I don't know how much it is until I get a miraculous email. So here's a dashboard. You can use this. This template, copy as many times as you want to, but you can start writing down your scholarship list, as well as your college searches and why you like this college search. Now, this is very important because we want to make sure that we're keeping a running list of why you even like this school, as opposed to you just throwing a blind dart in the sky and saying, oh, let me just apply to these colleges. Because when they do say yes, and you're at a point of negotiation when they say yes, like how much money are they going to give you, you always want to remember your why. Why do you like this school? And so those are 2 boxes that you can complete on a monthly basis. Also, I'm going to jump to the self-check-in one towards the end. The next box I want you to take a look at is community service. Now, in some high schools, you may or may not be required to complete community service hours for graduation per se, but it looks great on the college application, as well as communicating. Sometimes it may be your theme or topic in your college essay, but that's the extra cherry on top that may set your student apart from another student. As well as certain scholarship applications will ask how much community service did your student complete during their senior year. And so if they're doing maybe a once a month community service project, here's a dashboard in order to keep track of those community service hours. Because if they're doing it over a course of some time, then that community service coordinator may be a letter of recommendation for your student. Also, you want to get your student in the habit of working for free. Because internships in college is sometimes just that, working for free. So that may be some of your students' first experience with a job experience, taking direction from a stranger and them not knowing that person's work style, but getting to know that person's work style, working with different communities, and then just having an innate nature to give back, starting that young. So there's a dashboard to keep your monthly tracking on that. The next thing is a self-check-in. I put this in the middle because I feel that this is like this epicenter of checking on the mental mind check of our students. That's why today's topic today is about the mental mindset of college. This is why we're doing this in our first webinar, because again, the college application process is so overwhelming to a lot of our students and our parents. So we want to make sure that students are checking in, are you on track to graduation? How's your attitude with others? Are they getting physical exercise, or are they just sitting behind the computer or screen time? Are they developing healthy eating habits? Did they read a book or a journal? Did they dance this month? My goodness, that's my favorite question of our monthly dashboard is, did you dance this month? Students have to find joy. Dancing is one of them. Did they spend time with their family? Some anxiety points within our students is, I'm going to have separation anxiety from my siblings or my mom, things of that nature. So spending quality time with the family. If it's dinner once a week, if it's the movies where you guys don't have to talk to each other, you're just sitting with each other, watch Netflix and chilling, whatever it is, making sure that you're carving out that quality time in their senior year. And then students, are you taking time for yourself? This is so important about self-care. Parents, you understand the need for self-care. So students, what are you doing for self-care? Are you doing any one of these? Are you spending time with friends? You get to determine what is self-care and how do you spend that time to yourself. And so that is our monthly dashboard. I'm looking here on our topics that I need to make sure that we discuss tonight. And so this is our monthly dashboard. Now let me jump in. I see we have some questions that it says from Miss Yolanda. Hello, hello, hello. It says, when and where is the college fair? The college roadmap that was given to us listed 2 days from the college fair is September 12th and 13th. Okay, so I'm assuming this is from one of our schools. So Miss Yolanda, we've got students from all over the country joining us this evening and streaming on different platforms. So in regards to your particular student's college fair, I'm not quite sure, but we'll have an offline conversation in regards to that. in regards to when your students' college fair is, but you may want to check the website. But again, we can connect after, and I will be able to possibly help assist you in that process. So great. Okay, so this is what I need you students to do in order to take action over the next few weeks until we connect again. So first of all, for those of you all, some of you guys are joining us on a special pass to just for today, just to check out our accountability group, what we're talking about, the resources, things of that nature, and you're just joining us on video. Great. Make sure that you register for the accountability group, and we have different times that we meet. So on the second Tuesday and the second and fourth Tuesday of the month at 7:30 in the evening, we have a phone conference where we're talking live about what our college topics for the month. Mental mindset is this month's topic. Then we have once a month webinars, just like how some of you all are joining us today with our webinars. So we have our webinars. And so secondly, I want you to get organized. Students and parents, now is the time to get organized. So students, you have your checklist in your monthly dashboard of how to get organized, and your plan A, plan B, plan C of how you need to get organized. So if that means starting on your essay, getting registered for a test, or starting your college application process, those are the three priorities. How are you going to get organized within that? Parents, the way that you need to help get organized is firstly determine what is your financial contribution to your students' education, and to get on the Department of Education's website and register for a user log on name. We will have some upcoming free trainings for you to learn more about the financial aid process. We also have a Microsoft Store training that's coming up on Sunday, the very first day of the FAFSA kickoff on Sunday, October the 1st at Microsoft Store at Perimeter. So those of you all that are out of town, do not fret. If you're not in the state or the city of Atlanta, do not worry. I have some live trainings that are coming up on a web base in the comfort of your home, but we're going to do an official launch of the opening of the application process for FAFSA. So if you're in Atlanta, make sure that you register for that if you're able to join us. The third thing is to make sure that you visit our website at collegeclinic.org, because there's a lot of different things that you can engage in with us. A couple of things that we have coming up is our Get Me to Graduation. That's the one-on-one training that we have for our parents and our students that need one-on-one specialized training, as well as you can register for the FAFSA event that we're having October the 1st. And then also join our Facebook group. If you're following us on Facebook with the behind the scenes, or if you're joining us here live, make sure that you join our Facebook group at College Clinic, and you can get all of the update information of what we're doing in the community. And so I want to make sure that you guys have your resources for this month's training. Number one, make sure that you have access to your Microsoft OneNote. If you don't, make sure that you send us an email at info@collegeclinic.org in order to gain access to your Microsoft OneNote, and there's instructions with that. Make sure that you check your emails for the up-to-date. And so I'm very, very thankful that you guys have joined us today. This has been a journey that we have been going on through some time with the other students, and this accountability group came from the feedback that we were hearing from parents and students. Like, this is great in workshops, this is great when you come to our classroom or our community, but how do we form a community where we're able to laser focus and ask questions? So make sure that next week that you are taking advantage of our accountability group. Make sure that you're booking your appointments to have your comment application reviewed, as well as your college essay, as well as when we have this live training and I'm answering questions live. Make sure that you use your voice. Make sure that you're writing your questions in our chat room to make sure that we address them during our time together. So our next monthly phone call is scheduled for Tuesday, September the 19th, which is 2 days from now. It starts our telephone conferences. So thank you so much for joining, and we look forward to seeing you as well. We believe in you at College Clinic, and we are here to help you be successful in your academic journey. So thank you very much. Make sure that you send in your questions. Have a great evening.